the comedy night at the Russian club. The next day, and even during that night, I had a lot of people kind of look at me very warily. And, a couple people apologized. Oh, I'm sorry you had to hear that. But I told them each and every time, I did live a life before this. There was something I was before a priest. And it's what I want to kind of focus on today. That all the things that seemed a little uncomfortable for them to know that, I'm here trying to give spiritual direction, and we're all hearing that comedians have never really been known for the cleanest of humor. But what I wanted to begin with is sort of an expression about something that has been on my mind for a while. And I wanted to, admit something to all of you that we haven't had to sort of cross yet as a bridge together. And it kind of goes along with this idea that there was something that I did in my life before this, and that isn't necessarily expected of who I am now. And as the weather warms up, as we're all allowed to see, I'm going to start wearing t-shirts, and all of you are going to notice that I have tattoos. It's not something that people expect of the person who's spiritually leading them. But this isn't to say anything against, tattoos or those who have them. It's just that there's an expectation of who I am to you and what I was before. And the difference in that is exactly what we see today in the saint that we commemorate. As we look at Mary of Egypt, we can see that transformation from what everybody knew her to be and expected of her based on what she was, and then finally what the church learned of her as. When Zosimus, the monk who was sort of sojourning in the desert, first found her, he regarded her entirely as a saint. He had no idea who she was, what she had been through, or anything that she had done. She was just this incredible woman who was living alone in the desert, devoting her life entirely to God. And God, seeing fit to help her out, who accepted her sacrifice of her life to live alone for him, and who accepted all of her praise, kept her alive. When she went into the desert, she had 3 whole loaves of bread to her name. And eventually, when those left, she survived for 47 years, having walked into the desert with the clothes on her back and 3 loaves of bread. And being able to survive that long is nothing short of a miracle, as God provides for somebody in the desert. But, as Zosimus learned as he talked to her, she told him about her former life, and all that she had been through, and why she chose to take this path into the desert. And the reason that she found God at all was because she chose to try to sin more. She didn't go to Jerusalem to experience the exaltation of the Holy Cross because she said, wow, this would be really great. What a religious experience. She said, there's a lot more people over there. I can go and make my way with them. It was literally it. She went where popularity was. This was a big deal. She went where the crowds were going. And that's the way that she had been living her life up until that point. She not only knew that the way that she had been living in her life was wrong, she wanted to keep doing it. She found joy in it. And she kept doing that. And where most people in that day would have said, well, she was a prostitute, she actually attacked Zosimus and said, no, I wasn't, because I told people not to pay me for my quote-unquote services. Because it's what she wanted to be doing with her life. It was only upon standing at the doors of the church and having something prevent her from entering that she realized maybe there was something bigger going on than what was just in her own little bubble. And that's when she decided to change her life. When she devotes her life to this time in the desert, she becomes this great saint of the Lord. And we only know about her because one person happened to find her. And after that, the multiple times that he had met with her, miracles happened. When she walked upon the waters of the Jordan to come and see him, she would always seemingly appear out of nowhere as she was coming out to him in the desert. And then finally, when he found her body dead, he had a lion suddenly come and was licking her body clean so that she would be presentable. And a lion dug the hole for her because, of course, Zosimus didn't bring a shovel with him and couldn't find anything except some sticks to be able to try to dig the hard ground. All these miracles surrounded somebody who lived a life that she admitted was deplorable and utterly against God. And not just against God as in God doesn't want this, against God as in she personally, openly did not care about God at all. That was the against God that she truly was repentant for, is that she had chosen to act against him. She did not care. And this is the lesson that we learn from her, and why she's such a great saint, why we have devoted an entire Sunday of Lent to her, is because there is nothing that we can all do in our lives that we can't turn around from and change. There is no end to the amount of which we can sin that God will not forgive us for. And the best way that I've ever heard this described in its simplicity is you can walk 100 miles away from God, and the moment you turn around to try to come back to him, he's already behind you waiting. There's no point in which God says, well, you walked away from me, you have spent this entire time away from me, you're going to have to really work to get back into my good graces. All we have to do is repent. And we see that in the life of St. Mary and the life of thousands of saints who had horrible lives beforehand. And there was a monk who murdered some lady, and he turns around and starts working miracles after he had repented for a while. There's no end to the mercy that God has. And so while I wanted to kind of kill two birds with one stone and admit something to you about myself to sort of drive this home, the larger point is to express that there is nothing that we can do that will keep us away from God. And as we draw near to the end of Lent here, this idea of repentance, this idea of change and turning to God is best exemplified by Christ's own saying that even those who come in the 11th hour will be just as honored as those who were there in the first. There's no such thing as showing up late to God's mercy. It's always ready for us. So be renewed and be ready to finish the course of the fast with strength, with love, always trusting in God's mercy. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Glory be to Jesus Christ.